So Cloudstone Curio is a really cool artifact, honestly. Basically opening up the door of looping an ETB infinitely. The creature that is obviously going to synergize with this is Dockside Extortionist. I mean, all we really need is Cloudstone Curio, Dockside Extortionist and one Mana Dork. Bird of Paradise will do the job, and if the Dockside ETB will generate 4 or more treasures, you go infinite treasures. Of course, if your commander is a Rograk, a 0 costing creature, then if Dockside only generates 3 treasures, you're going infinite. A clear upgrade to the concept. But how good is it really? Well, that's what we're going to try and answer in this video. So my favorite way of actually solving and answering questions like this is by using tournament data. So I currently have 28,551 tournament entries that I've calculated from various tournaments in my data sample. And among that we have 295 that are all including Cloudstone Curio, Rograk and Dockside Extortionist. This means that we have 2 different groups, one group with the card, the 259, and one group everyone else without the free cards in them. And we basically have 2 different win rates from that. The top one is the win rate from those 295, which is 23.37. And then we have a win rate without the 295 cards, which is basically the reference number of the total average, you could say, of 21.65. So as you can see, Cloudstone with Dockside Extortionist and Rograk seems to be doing good. It seems to be kinda recommended. But of course we can tweak this and look at different variations to see if we can paint a better picture of understanding how good Cloudstone Curio actually is. So what we did now is that we moved Rograk from the inclusion to the exclusion. So now instead of forcing the data to look at the free cards, we are also forcing the data to exclude every deck that did have Rograk in them. So now we have 1,672 decks that have played both Cloudstone Curio and Dockside Extortionist, but also haven't included Rograk in that as well. And as you can see, the win rate drastically dropped. But we can develop this even further. Let me showcase this picture. So now we brought Rograk into the inclusion again, but we're also forcing us to include Temur Sabertooth. As you can see here, we have a 295, we decreased it to 129, but the win rate increased. Because obviously Temur Sabertooth is a rather good card. It goes infinite with Dockside Extortionist on their own. If Dockside only makes 5 treasures, that's infinite with Temur Sabertooth. And of course we can do the same thing as before, we can move Temur Sabertooth into the exclusion. So now we're looking at the free cards we had before, but we're also excluding Temur Sabertooth. So if we go back to this picture and then look at this picture, you can clearly see that some of the 295 here were including Temur Sabertooth, and that brought them more success. And as you can see here, this is so far a pretty good hit to look at. Now some of you are gonna say, what about Emile the Blessed? That's much better than Temur Sabertooth, and here's the result. You might be confused. The reason is very simple. If you're playing Rograk, you have to play a white-green partner, which is only giving you Cedar, I think, of Condor, and you don't really want to play that kind of deck. Apparently one person did though. I thought it was gonna be 0 people doing this, because it doesn't make sense, it's not good. Because of color identity restrictions, this is not a viable option for you, as there are no commanders that is going, because Rograk is one of your commanders basically, and the other one has to be Cedar of Condor, so no. But we can do this, we can move Rograk into the exclusion and look at. We don't actually need to move Rograk into the exclusion when I think about it, because the moment we're including both Emile the Blessed and Temur Sabertooth, we can't really have Rograk as a commander. But you can play a lot of different Naya commanders that can win from infinite mana here. Or Thrasius, by the way. Thrasius and another... what do you need? Red. Yeah, you need a red partner commander. And white. You need Boros, basically. So you need a Curio the Line Slinger or Bruce, and you have it. But as you can see, not that good, not that recommended. And it might look strange, but this answer is pretty simple. Those decks that have that high amount of access to different colors They don't need this. Let me be extremely educational just by simply doing this. So we have Cisse, you have all 5 color identities, you have Emil the Blessed, obviously, you have Darevi and Gaia's Cradle, obviously, and you're also going to have Dockside Extortionist in there, obviously. A lot of Cisse decks are actually on this. This is a very good Cisse build. So what you do from here is that you can win in various different loops with Emil the Blessed and Dockside Extortionist, and other loops with Emil the Blessed and Darevi and Gaia's Cradle and other variants to that. But you don't need Cloudstone Curio or Tamer Sabertooth in this. Cisse wouldn't improve her win rate by any means by doing that. In other words, this combo right here are for color identities that are more like Naya color identities. However, I want to show you something very interesting. So currently, remember this, we have Cloudstone Curio, we have Dockside Extortionist, Emil the Blessed and Tamer Sabertooth, and we're excluding Rograk. Let's only do this, let's only exclude or remove Tamer Sabertooth from that. As you can see, the win rate increased. But we can also do this, we can look at Tamer Sabertooth, Cloudstone Curio and Dockside, while excluding Emil the Blessed. And as you can see, the win rate is in green, but it's still very close to the total average. It's not really a huge improvement. This is basically gruel. You don't have access to white color identity here, more or less. Etali is actually a high contributor to the high amount of play all cards, 399 here. And as you can see here, Etali currently have 297 tournament entries, people that have brought Etali as the commander into tournaments, and they have a total average win rate of 21.30. And that is very identical to that win rate up there. Oh yeah, by the way, I actually also took a look at this one. So Rograk, Dockside, Tamer Sabertooth, while excluding Cloudstone Curio. As you can see, 4 people have done this. They have entered into a tournament without a Cloudstone Curio while still playing these 3 cards, and that was not recommended. Still though, the sample size is really low, but when the sample size is also really low, that is also an indicator that it's a not popular choice. In the end, this is more or less what you want to hit if you're playing Cloudstone Curio. You want to play Rograk as a commander, and you want to play both Tamer Sabertooth and the Cloudstone Curio. And you rather have some form of infinite outlet. This could be Thrasios. You can still have Thrasios as the commander in this. Once again, it might be fine to not play the Tamer Sabertooth, but your win rate increases when you do. But still, I really want to highlight that when you're playing Cloudstone Curio, Dockside Extortionist, Tamer Sabertooth without Rograk, as you can see, not great. The win rate definitely goes down. We could summarize the entire video by basically saying that Cloudstone Curio is a combo or card that is a filler or something that is helping fringe rogue decks that needs a little bit more of a win con. But the top tier decks, for example that Cisse and other decks that are really strong that also want to try to loop Dockside, aren't playing Cloudstone Curio because they have better options. Now you could of course play Naya without Rograk as the commander, playing Tamer Sabertooth, Emil the Blessed and Dockside Extortionist while excluding Cloudstone Curio. And here you go. So what have we learned today? I don't think that this card is good. That's my opinion at the very least. Or I think it has a place in some decks. For example, if you're playing that Rograk as the commander, including Tamer Sabertooth and Cloudstone Curio and Dockside Extortionist, it looks like it seems to be working. But that's only an option if you're one of those fringe rogue decks that are lacking color identities. You're playing something like Thrasios, you can't play Emil the Blessed. If playing Emil the Blessed without Cloudstone Curio with Tamer Sabertooth might be better if you have access to more color identities. If you have access to all 4 or all 5, you don't want to play this. But if you're lacking color identities, Cloudstone Curio is definitely something potentially for you. It doesn't seem to be destroying your win rate, but it only seems to be an option if you're one of those like fewer color identity commanders and you need more combos inside your build. But I would love to hear what you think. Please leave a comment below if you think that Cloudstone Curio is actually great and maybe that I and my data is wrong. In any case guys, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you again in the next one.